Hi, welcome back to my Food Lady Kitchen. I'm Dominique, and today I want to show you how to make the most delectable hamburgers that I've ever had. I know hamburgers are not really Italian, although in the ruins of Pompeii, they did find meat patties as part of the street food that was fossilized. So I think Italians had something to do with hamburgers as well. But you really have to be in the States for 5 minutes to fall in love with hamburgers. I mean, really. And the thing that I love about hamburgers is when they're super juicy on the inside. And there's a couple of ways that that can happen. You can either use super fatty meat, which not really healthy, or you can have them rarer on the inside. But the problem with having a rare hamburger is it may not be too healthy for you because of the bacteria in it. It's not like a rare steak where the inside of it has not been touched, because unless it's been poked into or anything like that, bacteria hasn't gotten into the inside. That's why they can dry age steaks. But hamburger meat, it's been all chopped up and you never know what's in there. So a rare hamburger, little scary, but not if you cook it in a sous vide machine. So what a sous vide machine does is that it will cook this meat for a longer time at a lower temperature. Because there's two ways that you can kill the bacteria in a meat or in a food. You can either go high temperature and, above 165, you're basically killing most bacteria in there and things are safe to eat. But really, unfortunately, that kind of gives you a tough, overcooked meat. Or you can cook it at a lower temperature, but for a longer period of time. And that has the same effect. So what we're going to do, we're going to cook these hamburger patties at 128 degrees for 4 hours. Then we're going to take them out, sear the outside so you have that beautiful caramelized seared outside, and on the inside you have a perfectly safe, rare burger that is juicy and I say almost creamy. Step one for these great hamburgers is actually getting the patties ready. Chris, my husband, is the meat guru in this house, and what he does is he combines short rib, brisket, and chuck cuts of beef, and he actually grinds them himself, forms the patties, and then sets them up in the freezer. So we've got quite a bit ready. Now what we're going to do is, these are patties right from the freezer. All you need to do is you want to put them in plastic bags that won't let any water in. So what we usually do is we put 2 per plastic bag, because you don't want any of the burgers to sit against each other. You want the burgers to have water flowing on either side. That's how a sous vide works. Basically, this is your sous vide machine. It is simply a heating element that circulates the water and keeps it at a consistent temperature. I mean, you could do a sous vide just by cooking it on the stove, trying to keep that consistent temperature, but it's very, very difficult. So that's why it's great to have a sous vide machine. Ours is the Anova, and we've been super happy with it. So what you do is you put your machine in the water. Most sous vide machines just come on their own, and then you buy whatever kind of container. Either you want a bigger one because you're going to do bigger cuts or bigger pieces in there, or you can also buy smaller containers because, for instance, when I pasteurize eggs, I do it in a much smaller container because I don't need that much space. So you just put your sous vide machine in, make sure that it's nice and tight against the side so that it's not going to move. you plug it in, and then you put in your hamburgers. Now, what we also do, because hamburgers, real treat for me. I usually do a lot more vegetables and less meat, but every once in a while, this is a phenomenal treat. And we go ahead and we also put a little bit of grass-fed butter on it. So we put a bit of a pat of butter on each patty. And then here's the trick that we found, because these patties need to stay in the water fully. To give it a bit of weight, extra weight, we put in a knife on the bottom. And when you put your bag in the water, you put it in with the bag open, because as you're putting it in, you can see that the water is pushing the air out. It's displacing the air and it's pushing it out of the top. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue that process and make sure that there's as little air as possible, so that the circulating water is really hitting up against the meat and not air pockets. Now I close that bag up, and then what we have is these great little just office clips that holds the bag against the side. This way we're sure that it's not gonna fall in, open, get water in the bag. We don't want any of that. So we're gonna repeat that with the second bag. Okay, we've got our hamburgers in. Now we put the temperature, so the temperature reader is here on the bottom. This is telling us what the temperature of the water is now. And we want to put this at 128. And I turn it on. So now you can start hearing the pump, and it's circulating the water, and it's heating. The heating element is starting up. And so we're going to start see how the temperature is climbing right away. And we're going to leave this in here for 4 hours, and then we're quickly going to grill them for that beautiful sear on the outside. See you later. Now we've taken the hamburgers out of the sous vide. They don't look very appetizing like this, but once they're seared and caramelized on the outside, they're going to look fantastic. So here's what I do. This is a real treat. So we put some butter in there to cook. And some olive oil so that the butter doesn't burn. Then some garlic powder. And some thyme. Now first I'm going to let this warm up together, because remember, we're not cooking these burgers long. So I want this juice to have all of the flavor elements going on in it. And here we go. I'm only going to take the burgers out and not the juice, because the juice is too wet. And we want the burgers to have a nice sear to them. What we're doing is we just want the nice sear on the outside, because remember, these burgers are cooked through. They're going to be rare, but they're cooked through. And then, while I've got them like this, A little bit of salt on each burger, and a little bit of pepper. I've never understood at grills where they squeeze them, because the whole point is you want to sear the outside of the burger to keep the juices inside so that the juices don't leave. Now they're ready to go. Here are our hamburgers. So as you saw, I just basically seared and caramelized the outside, and I want to show you what they look like on the inside. First of all, you can see how amazingly juicy they are. And see how beautiful and pink and juicy looking they are on the inside? Well, that's our sous vide yummy hamburgers. Truly the most amazing hamburger I've ever tasted. So thank you to my husband for having us get the sous vide and coming up with this. Buon appetito. Please comment below and let me know how you use a sous vide, and have a wonderful dinner.